Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty intense. We're looking at parts of Psalms chapter 55.
Yeah, it's incredibly raw stuff. This isn't just, dusty old text. It gets right into deep human emotion, distress, fear, betrayal.
Absolutely. The text just hits you immediately with the weight of it all.
It does. Words like distraught, uh, terrors of death assail me, horror has overwhelmed me. It's a powerful description of inner turmoil.
Feels surprisingly current, actually, the feeling of being completely swamped by it all.
hmm And right out of that pain comes this almost desperate desire to escape.
Right, the part where the writer says, "Oh, that I had the wings of a dove, I would fly away and be at rest."
I would flee far away and stay in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this plea for refuge.
Why a dove, do you think? What's the significance there?
Well, the dove, it's often a symbol of peace, isn't it? Gentleness. So it's not just running from the chaos.
Well, it's running to something, to peace, to quiet.
Exactly. To a state of rest. It shows how bad things are. That simple peace feels like the ultimate escape, maybe even impossibly far off.
And it's not just internal struggle, right? The psalm mentions external threats, too.
Yes, absolutely. Violence and strife in the city, malice and abuse, threats and lies. There's a sense of danger pressing in from the outside as well.
So inner storm, outer storm.
Pretty much. And that context, that external pressure, it kind of sets the stage for what feels like the real gut punch in the text.
This is where it gets, well, incredibly personal. And really painful to read, actually.
It is. The writer says, they could handle an enemy, an open adversary. You can hide from that.
Right, but this isn't that.
No. The wound comes from a man like myself, my companion, my close friend, someone trusted.
That closeness is key. With whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship. It lingers on that intimacy.
And that shift tells us something profound about vulnerability, doesn't it? The deepest hurt often comes from that broken trust.
From the people we let in.
Precisely. The words used, companion, close friend, sweet fellowship, they just underscore how deep the connection was, and therefore how deep the betrayal feels. Trust makes us connect, but it also makes us vulnerable.
And the description of how the betrayal happens, it's chilling. His speech is smooth as butter, yet war is in his heart.
His words are more soothing than oil, yet they are drawn swords. Yeah, that contrast is stark.
That smooth surface hiding something destructive, it makes the treachery seem even worse somehow.
Definitely. It points to the cunning nature of it. The weapon is an obvious force. It's deception, using intimacy itself, words. Friendship is the weapon.
Wow. So it's the how as much as the what?
I think so. It adds another layer to the torment.
But even with all this, the anguish, the threats, this awful betrayal, the text doesn't just stay there, it shifts.
It pivots, yeah, towards resilience, or at least towards finding refuge somewhere.
But I call to God, and the Lord saves me.
Right? And notice the persistence. Evening, morning, and noon I cry out. It's not a one-off prayer. It's this constant turning towards God, even in the midst of being overwhelmed.
Finding that voice again and again.
And the belief that this call is heard, that there's a response, He saves me.
Which brings us to maybe the most well-known part, that direct instruction and also a promise.
Exactly. Cast your cares on the Lord and He will sustain you.
He will never let the righteous fall. After detailing all that pain, all that broken trust, it offers this, an anchor.
An invitation to sort of hand over the burden and an assurance of support from a source that is reliable, unlike the human relationship that caused so much pain.
So looking back at our deep dive into Psalms 55, it's quite a journey. From that raw anguish and wanting to fly away.
Through the shock of a friend's betrayal.
And then finding this place of trust, this reliance on a higher power.
Yeah. The core message seems to be that invitation, cast your cares, and the promise, He will sustain you.
It's striking how this ancient voice, dealing with such recognizable suffering and betrayal, finds its footing.
And finds it not by escaping completely, maybe, but by turning towards something constant and trustworthy. It really leaves you with a question, doesn't it?
It does. For you listening, how does this ancient story of pain and trust connect with your own life? When you face difficulties or maybe even betrayal, or just feel lost in the storm?
What does it actually mean for you right now to cast your cares? That's something powerful to think about long after you finish listening.